Hey everybody, welcome to Body Language and Expression and Words in Comic Storytelling. I am Gregg Schigiel, that's me, hard at work. I am a cartoonist, graphic novelist, comic book artist. These are my graphic novels. Here's some interior pages so you can see the kind of work I do. I also, for many years, was a regular contributor to Spongebob Comics. Here's a bunch of Spongebob Comics covers I did. Maybe you've seen some of those. The thing I want to talk about today is using art to tell stories, comic storytelling. A lot of what I'm going to talk about comes from lessons I learned from Will Eisner, this gentleman right here, and his book, Comics and Sequential Art. Will Eisner is referred to as the father of graphic novels. I took a class with Will Eisner way back in the 1990s, and one of the things that he really impressed upon us as students was to tell our stories as best we could without words at all. And one of the tools to do that is body language and facial expressions. So this is from that book that you just saw. And on the right side, you can see how he uses different body postures to change the meaning of the simple phrase, "I'm sorry." And that's sort of what we're going to explore in this little session here. The basic nugget is whether you're drawing cartoony figures like SpongeBob stuff, or you're drawing traditional, quote-unquote, superhero-y kind of comics, or even stick figures. You want to communicate as clearly as possible with body language and facial expression, and let that do the heavy lifting in storytelling. So the first exercise is going to be a take on the "I'm sorry" business. In this case, I'm going to use just the word "hey" and show you 3 plays on "hey." So this first one is a very enthusiastic, "Hey, we won the game, nice to see you, welcome home," any of the nice positive, affirmative, joyous "hey." This next one is a completely different track. This is an angry, aggressive "hey." This is a "hey you, I don't like the way you're looking at me. Hey you, get off my lawn. Hey you, why'd you draw my ear wrong that first time?" So this is, again, same word, different body language and expression, changing the tone of that word. And this last one, once again, is going to switch up the tone and reading of the word "hey." This is a "hey, whoa, settle down, everybody. What's the big fuss?" So the font hasn't changed, the balloon shape hasn't changed, which are ways to do it, but the drawing influences and speaks to the word. So now let's apply that to actual storytelling and letting the art tell the story. I've put together this simple script that we're going to play off of for the rest of this little demo. Panel 1, Sandy enters a small cafe late to meet James, who's already seated at a table with a sandwich on a plate. Sandy: "James, I'm Sandy. Have you been waiting long?" James: "Well, I did order some food." Panel 2, James holds up the sandwich, offering it to Sandy. James: "Want a bite?" Sandy: "No thanks." Panel 3, close on Sandy's reaction with James in the background. James: "Okay, your loss." Sandy: "This guy." Or "this guy." So this is going to be the exercise. I've laid the panels out with balloons, and now I'm going to draw 2 different takes using different body language. So in this first panel, Sandy is entering and she is looking at her phone. She's not even looking up at James as she addresses him. It's a very specific kind of behavior. While James is sort of sheepishly smiling, trying to make the best of the situation, slightly sort of passive in his posing. Now in this second panel, James is sincerely doing what he can to keep the positive attitude. He's smiling, but his eyes are a little sort of crinkly, and he's offering up the hot dog. "Do you want a bite?" And Sandy can't help, based on his sincerity, start to thaw a bit in her behavior. She hands to her chest like, "Oh." And in this last image, I started with one concept, which was going to be Sandy sort of being won over by his sort of sheepish charms. But instead, I realized I had a different idea, and this was on the fly, where I had James just toss that hot dog over his shoulder, forget it, and be a bit irreverent and silly, and then I have Sandy sort of being really sort of tickled by him and being won over by his goofy behavior. I don't think that works in real life, but fun to draw. Now in this next one, I'm putting Sandy in a different position. I'm making her very concerned, worried she's late. Her body language is speaking to that. And James, meanwhile, is a bit of a jerk. He's checking his watch. He's being snide about it. His eyes, his posture, his mouth. Now Sandy, in response to the offer for the hot dog, is not being won over. In fact, she's still not into it, because look at the look on James's face. He is, nothing about him is welcoming or open or anything. And then in this last shot, James really just takes it to the limit by shoveling the hot dog into his mouth. A true boor, B-O-O-R. And there you go, 2 different takes using body language to tell the same story in 2 different ways, making it a different story. Now, there are ways to give the words more power than the drawing. So I'm going to do same sequence of events, new design on Sandy and James. Maybe we can call them Mandy and Jim. So here's Mandy. We could say this is Sandy's cousin or sister or something. So now Mandy's walking in, black dress. Seems pleasant enough. Now, you'll notice these drawings are coming together very quickly. 1, they're being sped up. 2, I did some preliminary blocking. So that's why these drawings are coming together so fast. So there's James looking perfectly pleasant and normal. Now, I tried with these to keep the expressions not mysterious, but somewhat clouded. Like, you can tell that everybody's being pleasant, but you can't really read what they're about, because in this instance, I'm making the words do the work. So here's James, again, kind of smiling, eyes kind of pleasant. And then in this last panel, again, not neutral expressions, but expressions that can be read in a lot of different ways. Arguably, when you're doing comics, because it's visual, you want to push those things and make the expressions do more work. Let the drawings sell the story. But in this case, I'm going to make the words sell the story. So I'm going to duplicate this thing, and now I'm going to lay in different language that's going to tell 2 different stories. Or the same story 2 different ways. Well, you'll see. So in the first one, I'm sorry I'm late. It's okay, I did order a hamburger. Would you like a bite? He says in the second panel. She says, no thanks, I'm vegetarian. And in the third panel, she's thinking, what a lifelike robot, revealing James to be a robot, or Jim. In the second set, I'm so sorry I'm late. Same panel 1, panel 2, would you like a bite? She says, oh no, please enjoy. And then her thought balloon in the last panel says, it will make my vampire's bite all the more delicious, revealing her to be a vampire. Now, none of this stuff is in the art. So it's not maximizing the value of comics. So to maximize the value of comics, you want the art and the words to work together, A.K.A. comics storytelling. So here I'm going to show you a way to do that. We're going to get rid of these balloons that reveal the secret or the reveal. And I'm going to make James have some robot paneling on the back of his neck so that the reader knows that he's a robot. Mandy doesn't know this as yet, maybe. There you go, model number. And then we're going to give James a very innocuous balloon, but now that we know he's a robot, that's nice, it changes the entire tone and meaning of that balloon. Similarly, we're going to take Mandy in this instance, and we're going to give her a more sinister grin, give her a little vampire's tooth, and, pretty simply, I thought about that little squiggle was me thinking if I could do like a vampire hypnotic line. But instead I decided to make James say, okay, but you look hungry, right? Accent on the look. And then she's got the vampire teeth and that grin. So the reader knows, she's a vampire. So we're letting the pictures do some of the work. And that really is the magic of comics, isn't it? Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something that you can use in your comics moving forward.